So today we have a bona fide digital rock star who is going to take place, or going to participate in this event, and it's not Wayne Rosing, it's Jacques Habra, and Jacques is one of our local entrepreneurs here. He's an experienced webinar with over 12 years experience in web-based businesses. He was about to graduate from the University of Michigan with a philosophy major when he came to his senses and started a company called Web Elite, which later became one of the nation's leading web and application development companies. And his latest projects include a thriving consulting practice focused on IT and corporate communications called Noospheric. So without any more ado, Jacques, you're...
Thank you, Guy. And a specific, particular thanks to Melissa Crawford and the entire Scheinfeld staff for putting all of this together. We need another round of applause for Melissa. The Scheinfeld Center is really an amazing resource in this community. I mean, providing tools, courses, intelligence, connectivity for entrepreneurs, for small business owners, and for students with great ideas. So, you know, I definitely encourage you to find out what they can do for you and how they can help you and how you can help them, because it's a tremendous asset in our community. And tonight's interview is a product of that. To think that we are going to have an intimate conversation with truly a living legend in the field of engineering and technology. Of course, I'm talking about Wayne Rosing, who maybe you guys don't know, but he started his career in the field of finance. Actually, his first job was at a bank. And he later became a developer, a programmer at that bank, and then went on to catapult into partnerships and business relationships with the likes of Steve Jobs at Apple Computer, Scott McNealy at Sun Microsystems, and the entire founding team at Google. And as you'll find in the interview, he's been responsible for the infrastructure and the leadership and innovation in all of these companies. By a show of hands, to give you some perspective, how many people here have used an Apple Computer this week? Cool, so about 60%. How about Google? How many people have done a search on Google? All right, a lot more of you. And how many people have sent or received emails this week? Everybody. So everyone here should give a warm thank you and a warm welcome to Mr. Wayne Rosing.
Thank you for the most kind introduction.
Well, thank you. Thank you for making it possible that every single second, I don't know how many seconds this interview is going to take, but every single second, something like 10 million computations happen at Google. And it has to do with the searches that are conducted and the output of the searches. And in a conversation that we had earlier this week, Wayne, we were talking about what does it take from an engineering point of view, in a word, to handle 10 million computations every second?
It takes a lot of computers, but 10 million turns out to be a little short. The real number is at the peak time of day at Google, which is roughly the morning. Japan is still alive, Europe is still awake, and we are here. And somewhere around 11 to 2, particularly on weekdays, Google traffic peaks, and it hits 10,000. There's basically 10,000 queries a second that come in. So you have to solve the problem of delivering the answer in well less than a second. We can go into that later. 10,000 times. Now, another way to realize this is that if 10,000 people were to walk in front of you every second, in a day, 300 million people would have walked in front of you, the population of the United States. Wow. So that's the scale of the problem that we approached.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers are staggering, I mean, quantitatively. And, you know, the premise, I mean, what Google's trying to do there is to organize the world's information. And I can only imagine, from an engineering point of view, to organize the world's information, what that really means.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. When I was interviewing, you know, that was one of the first things I was able to memorize, which is the corporate mission, to organize and present all the world's information and make it universally accessible. And it sounds like one of those classic corporate goals, like, we will do good. And how do you therefore translate that into real action? But at Sun, a good, I'd say 10 years before, we had a pretty good understanding of the following idea. If a human being were to sit at a typewriter or at a terminal and write coherent sentences in their own language, and they did that every minute of their life for 80 years or so, that's still a couple of CDs of text. And all of a sudden you say, okay, there's 10 billion people in the world. Well, that's 20 billion CDs. Well, I'm not sure what the production of CDs actually is, but there's probably billions of CDs made a year. Mm-hmm. So there's many, many instances of the world economy producing as many digital bits for some reason as there are digital bits all of us could be producing. Mm-hmm. So it was understood.
Yeah,
you could put everything in a computer.
And now voicemail is being digitized and, of course, transcribed, and eventually that'll be searchable. It already is, actually, in the new version here. And you know, we're looking at a whole new frontier in terms of digitizing every social interaction. You know, that's the objective that seems to be a lot of where we're headed.
Well, I'm not sure digitizing interactions is quite the goal. I can imagine a lot of reason why you wouldn't want to do that. But the point is using communications technology, digital communications technology, to enable interaction across space and time has been essentially the trend that essentially began in the late 60s with the beginning of email, and it's been essentially an expanding thing that has never stopped.
And what a lot of people don't know is when you joined Google, it wasn't nearly the powerhouse from a financial point of view that it is today. That there weren't unlimited resources that they had given you. There was actually more of an emphasis on trying to stay independent, right?
Right. I joined Google in, I think, let me see, what would it be? Thanksgiving is on a Thursday. The job offer rolled out of the fax machine Monday morning. I signed it that afternoon and started work on Tuesday. And then my wife came up Wednesday afternoon, and I picked her up at the airport. And we figured out what we were going to do on Thursday for Thanksgiving dinner that year. We went with friends. So it's just, gee, what is it, 10 years? 2000? Yeah. No, 9 years ago. Google had, at that time, about 250 people total, and about 60 engineers, and then another 20 people in a mixture of operations and research and IT. And so that was the group I started with. And we had about $19 million in the bank the end of December of 2000.
Which really is not a lot of money.
Right. Well, Google had received $25 million in venture capital investment approximately 18 months before. And you can't believe how frugal the place was at the time. Our desks were basically Home Depot doors sitting on yellow painted sawhorses, metal sawhorses. And we actually have those same desks at my organization today. Nice. They have the advantage of being very large horizontal surfaces upon which you can stash all kinds of stuff. If you look at my office, you'll see why.